in the program, we will learn about the Constitution Day of the Republic of Kazakhstan. What is the history of the formation of the Constitution of Kazakhstan? What are the basic rights and freedoms of the people of Kazakhstan? And what are their obligations to the state? What is the perspective of the constitutions of the countries of the world? And what is space law? Kazakhstan today celebrates the Constitution Day. The main document of the country was adopted at a national referendum on August 30th, 1995. Since then, this day has become a public holiday. The main law focuses on the basic foundations of the Republic of Kazakhstan as a secular, legal and unitary state.
Конституция действительно очень важна.
The Constitution is indeed very important and valuable to society. Not only economic, political, scientific, technical and cultural factors affect the Constitution, but also the Constitution itself affects all of the spheres of public activity. The Constitution can slow down or, on the contrary, speed up social processes. The Constitution legitimizes state power and its activities. It ensures the sustainability of development, peace and harmony.
Государственную власть, деятельность государственной власти. Она обеспечивает устойчивость развития, сохранение мира и согласия.
The Constitution enshrines the model of the state, as well as the fundamental rights, freedoms and duties of citizens, which are considered the main priority of the state.
Конституциялықта көрсетілген барлық біздің құқықтарымыз.
The rights and freedoms enshrined in our Constitution are our core values. In order for citizens to have legal literacy, it is necessary to know the Constitution. Every citizen must have deep respect for the basic law. It is necessary that these feelings awaken in each of us.
Конституцияны қадірлей білу керек. Сонымен қатар, осы Конституцияны қадірлеу сезімі оянуы керек.
The basic law also outlined the principles of law and order, the security of society and the state. The Constitution is the basis of all legislation.
Конституцияда адамдардың өмір сүру құқығы.
The Constitution reflects the human right to live. It is recognized that their honor and dignity are of paramount importance. At the same time, each person has the freedom of speech and movement. Each person can have his own personal information, and each has the right to work. All these fundamental rights and freedoms are recognized and reflected in the basic law of our motherland.
Негізгі құқықтар, негізгі бостандықтар бекітілген, көрсетілген, мойындалған және танылған.
Kulyash Aktayeva, a historian with 30 years of experience working in the museum today. She had the opportunity to keep and study valuable materials from the personal archive of the first president, as well as artifacts that are directly related to the establishment of the country's independence. As the historian notes, we are a country that provides examples of the preservation of a national and cultural genetic code, despite the relative small number of people living in a vast territory. Therefore, the history of the formation of the constitutional thought of modern Kazakhstan originates on the basis of accumulated historical experience and rich traditions.
Непосредственными источниками конституционной мысли, конечно же, являются.
Direct sources of constitutional thought are, of course, the charters of the steppe Kazakhs. These are, of course, the laws of Jeti Jargi and rules of Khans. Kasim Khani Yeski Joly, Yesim Khanin Jargilari. That is, almost all the experience of the constitutional development of Kazakhstan is based primarily on the traditions of the steppe customary law.
Развитие Казахстана, он основывается первоначально на традициях степного обычного права.
Then, of course, a very important element of constitutional development of democratic thought are the first signs of modern statehood.
Мысли первых ласточек современной государственности.
In the person of Alikhan Bokeyhanov, Ahmed Baitursinov and Mirzakib Dulatov. This is the famous Karkarali petition, which formulated the principles of a liberal constitutional system, which, during the formation of the foundations of Soviet statehood, had a chance to become the prototype of modern Kazakh statehood.
Основ советской государственности имели шансы стать прообразом современной казахской государственности.
Then, during the period of Soviet history, all three constitutions of the Kazakh SSR of 1926, 1937, and 1978 introduced their historical experience in shaping the foundations of the life of society and the state. After the collapse of the Soviet state apparatus, the task was set to develop the basic law of the state as quickly as possible. Thus, the first constitution of Kazakhstan in 1993 consolidated the rule of law, introduced the concept of the Republic of Kazakhstan as an independent legal entity, and defined the rights and obligations of citizens of Kazakhstan. According to the first constitution, Kazakhstan was a parliamentary republic, and the Supreme Council was the only legislative and supreme representative body of the country. The president was accountable to the Supreme Council.
Вот такого рода документ, который относится к разряду бесценных рукописных материалов.
This is the kind of document that belongs to the category of priceless handwritten materials. It belongs to our foundation, the speech of the head of state on January 28, 1993, to the People's Deputies of the Supreme Council of the Republic of Kazakhstan. I would like to quote his words. During these hours, a truly historical act was committed. The first constitution of the Republic of Kazakhstan was adopted. From now on, January 29 is the Constitution Day for Kazakhstan. Today, I would like to sincerely congratulate all compatriots on this event. The adoption of the basic law is really significant for the Republic and for all citizens. With this, we will begin the creation of a legal basis for the formation of statehood.
То есть эти слова, несущие, конечно же, очень важный эмоциональный оттенок торжественности и
These words carry a very important emotional tinge of solemnity and the desire of the political leader to convey through People's Deputies to all his compatriots how important a historical event takes place before the eyes of all of Kazakhstan people. That means Kazakhstan, for the first time in its history, was given the opportunity, without waiting for instructions from any center, to form its life principles. And now, people should realize that the center of all decision-making is the people of Kazakhstan, and those political forces that are entrusted with a responsible mission to reflect and articulate these important provisions.
Силы, на которые возложена ответственная миссия отражать, артикулировать эти важные положения.
However, many factors remained that needed to be given constitutional status. For example, in the conditions of polyethnic Kazakhstan, it was necessary to consolidate the status of the Kazakh language as a language of the indigenous population of the Republic. It was necessary to consolidate the status of the Russian language. As the historian notes, the relationship between nations and ethnic groups that lived on the territory of the country was one of the most painful moments that Soviet scientists paid attention to.
Мы часто очень цитируем Збигнева Бжезинского, который говорит...
We often quote Zbigniew Brzezinski, who often said that the objective prerequisites for repeating the Yugoslav scenario and the next collapse should be expected in Eurasia. There is a country such as Kazakhstan, which is close to the severity of ethnic conflicts, which will lead to the inevitable disintegration of this republic, like the countries of the former Yugoslavia. One should expect the need to intervene in a situation that will occur as a result of crisis moments.
Ожидать необходимости вмешательства в ситуацию, которая произойдет в результате этих кризисных явлений в Казахстане.
The current Constitution of the Republic of Kazakhstan was adopted on August 30, 1995, in a nationwide referendum. The President established a commission to draft a new constitution. The text was submitted to the referendum, which was held from July 28 to August 30, 1995. The adoption of the main law of the country was preceded by a broad discussion of the draft by the population of the country.
Конституция 1995 года, она родилась как результат совместного общения.
The Constitution of 1995 was born as a result of joint public creativity of the government and citizens of Kazakhstan. More than 3 million people, citizens of Kazakhstan, took part in the discussion and introduction of a proposal, on the part of which articles in the 1995 Constitution should be reflected. More than 33,000 written appeals were received. In addition, a special commission under the President started working, which studied in detail all the most interesting examples of the constitutional structure and regulations of the countries of the world.
Все наиболее интересные образцы и примеры конституционного устройства и регулирования стран мира.
The main difference from the first constitution was that the country's presidential form of government was strengthened. Thus, the broad functions and powers of parliament were passed to the president. Parliament has become two-tier, and the legislative function of the body is distributed between the president, the government, and members of parliament. At the same time, the Supreme Council, as well as the constitutional and arbitration courts, were abolished. Changes to the current constitution were made 4 times. The first changes in 1998 concerned the terms of work and powers of the president and deputies of parliament.
Сама по себе конституционная реформа, она означала, что
The constitutional reform meant that an important stage of political modernization of the society was taking place in Kazakhstan in the 90s and 2000. The constitution gave an impetus to politically active citizens to join the parties to express their civic positions, political opinions, then, being elected from a certain political party, delegate a degree of responsibility to each citizen.
От определенной политической партии делегировать степень ответственности каждому гражданину.
Regular amendments were made in 2007. They touch upon the system of elections of deputies. It is no longer necessary to vote for a specific person, but for a party. In addition, the Assembly of the People of Kazakhstan was given constitutional status. It received the right to elect 9 deputies to the Majlis of Parliament. The Assembly of the People of Kazakhstan became a full-fledged subject of the country's political system. The normative legal basis of its activities were determined. Such political experience has no samples, either in the far or in the near abroad.
Общественное представительство этнокультурных объединений.
Public representations of ethno-cultural associations, ethnic groups that live in the country, they do not have the right and opportunity for public participation, but they are delegated political rights. They articulate and reflect those interests and needs that could remain only at the level of public initiative.
Уровне только общественной инициативы.
Changes in 2011 regulate the appointment and extension of the powers of the president of the country. Another constitutional reform was held in 2017. The head of state shared power with parliament and government. Of the 45 powers vested in the constitution, the first president of the country transferred to them more than 30. The mechanism of citizenship was determined, and the requirements for candidacy for the presidency of the Republic of Kazakhstan were clarified.
В марте 2017 года были определены важные моменты, связанные с тем, что Астана.
In March 2017, important points were determined so that the capital received certain statuses related to the financing of the capital. Astana, now the city of Nur Sultan, personifies a new political image and is a new type of state of the capital status, which we have not observed in the world practice.
Олицетворяет новый политический образ и является новым типом государства столичного статуса, который, собственно говоря, в мировой практике мы пока не наблюдаем.
At one time, significant moments of history, like the formation of the country's constitutionality, took place in the first residence of the first president, located in the very center of the right bank of the capital. Currently, the residence serves as the library of the first president. The fund has more than 140,000 units of storage of archival materials, including the first president's handwritten notes, which are a valuable collection, as well as the personal library and personal things of the leader of the nation.
Мы входим в зал, в котором расположена экспозиция, освещающая основные конституционные принципы устройства.
We entered the hall where the exposition is located, which illustrates the basic constitutional principles of the structure of the Republic of Kazakhstan during the period of independence. Here we offer the text of the Constitution of 1995 to the attention of visitors, which is stamped by the President Nazarbayev Nursultan Abishevich. It also presents commemorative medals on the introduction of the 1995 Constitution of Kazakhstan. And of course, the central exposition is the recognition of the inauguration ceremony of the president. Visitors can see the video. And also artifacts are presented, starting with a white blanket on which Yelbasi took the oath of allegiance to the people of Kazakhstan in 2011 and 2015. Also, the text of the Constitution and the flag of our country are presented, as well as the presidential standard.
Также представлен текст Конституции нашей страны, государственный флаг и штандарт президента.
Constitution Day is an important public holiday which is approved in Article 90 of the Basic Law. Traditionally, on this day, there are mass celebrations and concerts being held throughout the country. This significant date has a particular importance for Unzila Shapak, a theorist and legal practitioner. Unzila Shapak has reached the highest level of her career as a lawyer, and today she is a member of the Constitutional Council of the Republic of Kazakhstan. As it is my profession, I work with the Constitution every day. Therefore, this holiday has great significance for me. Living in my homeland, realizing the independence of the country, feeling like a full-fledged citizen of society, I have a deep respect for the Constitution. Being in the public service, I feel boundless gratitude if my small contribution works for the benefit of our state. And all this thanks to our Constitution. Therefore, with special feeling, I meet this day. The supremacy of the basic law and constitutional control in the Republic are ensured by the Constitutional Council. The body is independent from the judiciary and state institutions. The Constitutional Council is authorized to make decisions in the event of a dispute about the correctness of the conduct of the election of the President of the Republic, of the deputies of the Parliament, and the conduct of a Republican referendum. Consideration of laws passed by the Parliament for their compliance with the Constitution of the Republic before the signing of President. Consideration prior to ratification of international treaties of the Republic for compliance with their Constitution. Official interpretation of the norms of the Constitution. Giving opinions in cases stipulated by paragraphs 1 and 2 of Article 47 of the Constitution.
47 бабының 1-2 тармақтарға сәйкес мәселе туындаған кезінде бұл мәселе Конституциялық кеңесте қаралады.
Doctor of Law Sergei Udatstev notes that the constitutions of the countries of the world are constantly undergoing transformation depending on the historical development of humanity. Today, humanity goes to the fact that the constitution of earthly states are gradually turning into the constitution of space states. After all states, one way or another, are involved in space activities or enjoy its results, such as television, mobile, and internet communications.
Когда-то великий Платон, размышляя о совершенном государстве,
Once the great Plato, thinking about a perfect state, noted that probably in this perfect state, people will check legislation with the space fundamentals of law and justice.
Законодательство с космическими основами права и справедливости. Многие века.
For many centuries, it was treated as the philosopher's fantasy. And only with the beginning of the space age, practical questions arise.
Оказывается, что здесь возникают вполне реальные практические вопросы.
According to the professor, a powerful wave of space activity is currently rising. Today, there are about 10 countries that have all the components of a space power. Russia, USA, China, and France are creating space troops, which will allow the state to go into space. The main strategic task of the developed countries is the mastering of the enormous wealth of space.
Современные конституции
Modern constitutions will have to be transformed into the constitution of space states. For the first time in history, perfect horizons will open up before them. They will play a big role in the institutionalization of space states, their bodies, their values, and their tasks. In the development of space law, and now, in addition to international space law, the development of national space law has taken place. There are already several dozen countries.
Космического права, еще национальное космическое право во многих странах. Уже таких несколько десятков стран.
Given the new evolutionary trends, the basic laws of states and the best minds of legal thought provide protection not only for human rights and freedoms, but also for the values of society and humanity as a whole. Therefore, one of the important holidays for all mankind is Constitution Day. The Constitution of Kazakhstan determined the democratic development of the people, as well as the principles of its activity for the period of the entire independence of the state.